That's not good.
Address, and then sometimes I'll pull up the invoice periodically just to check, but
But at least the sun will help a lot.
that's about the extent that I look at them.
I always wonder if Eric's,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
if Eric's already looking at them, entering them. I made the assumption it's correct.
You know, and Beth is looking
I
at them
don't,
too.
yeah, I don't.
You know, so she's looking
I
to make
don't
sure. But
understand
the account
any of
number
that.
is an automatic now, you know,
Steve,
so you can't
Is that
really
in
screw that
here
up.
or somewhere else they were just
Good afternoon. I'll call to order the meeting of the New Ulm Public Utilities for the month of March, or excuse me, April 2022. First agenda item is the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda as written.
I'll second.
Any discussion of the consent agenda items? All in favor of approving the consent agenda, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose, same sign. Motion carries. Next, we have our employee of the month, Larry Pelzel this month.
Yes, Larry Pelzel is the Assistant Supervisor for the Water and District Energy Department for the New Ulm Public Utilities. We had an administrative assistant receive a compliment that was directly from a customer regarding Larry. The customer indicated that Larry was very helpful to her when she had just purchased a house and had run into some unexpected problems. He explained everything in a very helpful and understanding way, and she appreciated it very much and spoke very highly of his interaction with her. She wanted to pass this compliment on to us, and it is not the only compliment that Larry has received regarding his interaction with customers. So the utility is thankful to have an employee take the time to help our customers, especially during a time that can be stressful for them. So I want to congratulate Larry Pelzel for Employee of the Month.
Do we have a motion to recognize Larry?
I'll make the motion to recognize Larry Pelzel, Assistant Supervisor, Water District Energy, as Employee of the Month for March 2022.
I'll second.
Any discussion of the motion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries, and congratulations to Larry. Next, we have our annual report, right, on the
Yeah,
our reliability standards and performance.
yep, this is, yeah, you've all seen this before. This is just our yearly report on how we've been doing. It's how we measure ourselves against other utilities, both the investor owns and some municipals through the report we get. Just some simple definitions that you've seen before, basically explanations why we're doing it. Simplest, what is power? Simplest power is there when you need it. That's what we're looking for here. Again, I already said it's benchmarking, and we're using the APPA's E-Relia tracker, and that gives us a whole zone and compares us against customers that are very similar to us. And again, we stack up really good, and we had a great year. And here's the three things we'll discuss tonight. Safety is average system interruption frequency index, and this is the formula used: total number of interruptions divided by the number of customers. SAIDI is the duration of the interruptions divided by customers, and KD is more of a ratio where it's the customer average interruption duration index, which would be the interruptions duration divided by the number of interruptions. It's kind of a ratio, like I say, the two. Last year, we had as close to zero as you can get, if you look at it. E-Relia tracker, that's the one that, it's the whole Midwest, and we can compare ourselves to utilities about our size. We really stacked up well against them, and then there's our history for the last 4 years, so we have a total of 5 on here, and the IOUs, well, we really look good compared to them. And this is just the same information in a graphic format. SAIDI, again, we looked really good. And there's our 5 year, or 4 years plus the current year.
Ron, what happened in 19?
We had a That's when we lost the substation for a little bit. See, when you look at the graph here, usually you can tell when a major event happened. Before I came in 10, whoops, I heard there's a major wind event, and they lost a whole bunch of stuff on Highland. And that's when we buried a whole bunch of the stuff up there, so we won't have any more from a windstorm. 14 should have been the, what do we call them, the Great Squirrel, where a squirrel got into Center Street substation and dumped the whole substation. And if I remember right, 19 was some faults with some relay testing and stuff. We dumped the whole substation then. And that's part of the problem with New Ulm being so small. These big guys have that kind of stuff happen all the time too, but it doesn't affect them because they've got such a huge number divided by such a huge number. It just doesn't budge, you know. And then we come to Katie, which is one I've kind of learned to not care for, because this year especially, you'll look at it, we actually had a good year. We stack up well against others, but you kind of go, boy, for how good we were at the other two, well, it's a ratio. So when you get into it, we only had 4 reportable events. So when your bottom number, is the number of interruptions, and you only have had 4 interruptions, and any length on any of them makes it look like a huge number. So you can do really, really good and still look really bad on this one. Almost the better you do, you can look worse on this one. So it's a little misleading. So again, we have our 4 major events, and oddly enough, we only had 4 events that were reportable last year. So here's the whole history of last year. A couple of bigger ones where we had a lot of 10 and 12 customers, so that bottom number, like I said, the number of interruptions was small. You know? This we've all talked about before. Cable replacement, tree trimming for any overhead lines. I talked about burying a bunch of lines so wind didn't get them in major wind events, pole testing, and then our relay testing and all that, just to keep ourselves. Now here's where, you know, you think we might want to slow down on some of the things we're doing, but we're doing the things now that we've talked to you about, like the Center Street bypass. Currently it is possible we could lose both substations to one event once we get the bypass in place. A bad event could happen and still be able to keep one of the 2 substations up or get it back up fairly quickly. Like the corrective action on the 69 breaker, the breaker was put in the 1950s. It's served us very well, but it'll look good retired with something that's a little more, not quite 65 years old, doing the job, you know. And then the Rtu Upgrade, this was, if you remember, was the engineering assessment we had done where they informed us that some of the equipment was beyond antiquated. And this is the SCADA that controls if there's a power outage, lets us know what's going on, and our protection scheme is all based on this. So important projects still need to be and are being done. And again, this is the planning we're talking about and replacement. We have 20-year system plans that we did a couple of years ago. We've got redundancy. We're always talking to you about that. And undergrounding components so the weather can't affect them as much. And we're always doing SCADA upgrades. Our operators, appropriate restoration steps and looking why something happened to see if we can prevent it in the future. Training. And then we have backup, delivery point, and our generation we can use. And we did use our generation to facilitate like the transmission project and stuff like that. Conclusion, there's the numbers, but like I said, we're stacking up really well against everyone. Knock on wood, of course, with our small footprint. You saw a couple of mine small events can have a huge effect on this. Questions?
Keep up the good work.
I feel like when I grew up, my lights went off all summer long. Every time you'd have a thunderstorm, they'd be off for a little while, but so much has changed, right? Yeah.
If you're in New Ulm, it should be a lot better than that today.
So I'll make a motion to receive and order filed the report regarding New Ulm's electric system reliability standard and performance for 2021.
Second.
Any discussion of the motion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Code generation and small power production rate schedule. Is that you?
Yes, Commissioners. I want to apologize for this. This did come to you last month. However, we neglected to get a resolution on it. So it's basically an item that you have approved. We just need to get a resolution.
I will opt for the resolution and waive the reading approving the revised New Ulm Public Utilities cogeneration and small power production rate schedule to be effective with the June 1st, 2022 billing.
I'll second.
Any discussion of the resolution? Hearing none, we can call the roll.
Commissioner Fingland,
Yes.
Commissioner Shaunis,
Yes.
Commissioner Visser,
Yes.
and President Heine.
Yes. Resolution passes. Under new business, we have a potential offer of employment to approve.
Yes, I'm asking that you approve the appointment of Glenn Hillistein to the position of Chief Engineer, which would be effective May 1st of 2022. Glenn has been employed since May 1st of 2006 and has been the Assistant Chief Engineer since July 29th of 2018. The recommendation further includes intra-organizational promotion, probationary period of 3 months, and then compensation at the fifth step rate of $99,632.
So why is this coming to the commission? I'm just trying to remember.
So the commission has to approve all department heads, and I think it was 2 months ago or so, Dave Keene retired from the position of chief engineer. So Glenn is very capable of the position. He's been the assistant for several years and has worked under Dave. So I feel very comfortable with that, with this.
Great. So yeah, just recalling that it's department heads we approve,
Just
not-
department heads,
Not
yep.
most other employment decisions.
Yep.
I'll offer the motion to approve the appointment of Glenn Hilsheim to the position of Chief Engineer effective May 1st, 2022.
I'll second.
Any discussion on the motion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next, we want to clean the water tower.
Yes, this item was included in our 2022 budget in the amount of $10,000. If you take a look at the water tower out by the airport, it's gotten quite a bit of algae growth, mold, and mildew on it. The airport tower has not been cleaned since it was repaired and repainted in 2015. And so we want to get that done. We got quotes for cleaning the lower half of the tank, which is basically where most of the algae and mold and mildew are. And then we also got quotes for doing the entire tank. The quote that we chose actually is the lower bid at $9,500, and it's actually to do the entire airport tower. So, yeah, asking for
Theirs
approval.
get dirtier than most. It just seems like, I don't know, I've never noticed it anywhere else.
You know, I think there's been so much construction out in that area in the recent couple years with, you know, a lot of the infrastructure being put out there. The bottom part of the tower gets all the condensation, and so, you know, if you get any type of dust and wind, you know, from construction, that just sticks to the tower, and then it starts developing the mold and mildew and algae. You know, in 2015 it was done, and I don't think we really noticed the effects of this until the last couple, 2-3 years. So it's mainly because of all the construction out there.
Does that make sense? I'll authorize the city manager to accept the proposal from, is it McGuire Iron Inc. for the exterior cleaning of the airport water tower in the amount of $9,500.
I'll second.
Any discussion of that motion?
If it's hard to get kids to fry hamburgers at McDonald's, how hard is it to get someone to climb up a
Nope, they got somebody to do it.
I feel like you might have tried to climb a water tower when you were a kid, so maybe it would be more fun than flipping. Did we have a motion and second?
Yes.
I think, yeah. Okay, all in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I didn't miss anything, did I? Okay. You usually wouldn't wait to. Okay, the last item on the agenda is our report of claims.
I'll make the motion to accept the list of claims paid in the amount of $4,312,917.88.
I'll second.
Any discussion of that motion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. So the commission has a work session scheduled to start at 5. Is there any reason, do we have to wait? We can start right away, can't we? Yeah, okay. Anyway, before we adjourn, anybody have anything else?
Nope.
Okay, we are adjourned.
Yes, and I think it's at approximately 5.
It did.
Well, then, we are exactly on
5
time.